Tell about the strangest phone conversation with an unknown number. Once they called me by mistake from a debt collection agency and asked about a girl unknown to me. Let's say her name was Jane Doe. I said they made a mistake, after which they just hung up. Not only without apologizing, but even without saying goodbye. A few weeks later, I saw that they were calling me from the same number, picked up the phone and said, "Good morning, this is Jane Doe's office." They asked to connect them with her, but I said that you can only meet with her by appointment. I offered them an appointment on February 19th, 3:15 p.m. It was December in the yard. They replied that they couldn't wait until February. They continued to call and write for several more days. I continued to pretend to be the most incompetent secretary the world had ever seen. I told them that all questions regarding Miss Doe's finances should not be addressed to me, but to Miss Doe's financial consultants. But I refused to give their number, since anyone who really has business with Miss Doe should know their number. I tried to be maximally professional, but minimally helpful. This continued for 5 years. I reminded them more than once that if they had agreed to a meeting in February, they would have already talked to her long ago. I was ready to stop the game and confess everything if they had behaved professionally, even once. Finally, in early 2017, one of their employees was polite and adequate with me, so I explained the situation to him and gave a couple of tips on how to improve their employee training program. Since then, they haven't called me anymore. Sometimes I miss their calls. Last year in the area where I live, some criminals took people hostage. There was a shootout. As soon as they showed a report about what happened on TV, a woman from another state who had dialed the wrong number called me. I picked up the phone and she almost screamed, "Trisha, honey, are you okay?" I told her that she had dialed the wrong number. She apologized and then said, "I hope you're all okay. I heard that people were taken hostage there. Didn't this affect you?" I live somewhere 25 minutes away from where the whole mess happened, but I was touched that she didn't hang up right away after realizing she had called the wrong number, but decided to make sure that the stranger was also okay. By the way, she still calls me once every couple of months, and we chat about this and that. Once, when I was still a teenager, I wanted to pull off an original phone prank. I took my dad's work phone and selected the conference function. I called a random number, and as soon as the call went through, I dialed another number on the other line and connected them. I got lucky. They both picked up almost simultaneously. The first one who answered said, "Hello." Logically, the second one said in a friendly tone, "Hello, how are your affairs?" They talked for about 3 minutes until they realized that neither of them had dialed the number and then hung up, extremely embarrassed. I was so proud of myself. When I was 16, some elderly woman called my cell phone and tried to fire me. She was extremely agitated. Apparently, that worthless employee she wanted to call really got on her nerves. She accused me of not wanting to work, constantly lying, etc. I tried to stop her with the words, "Ma'am, I think you dialed the wrong number." But she replied, "Don't bullshit me. I don't believe you anymore." In the end, I told her, "Ma'am, I think you don't understand. I'm 16 years old. I still want to go to school and live with my parents. Believe me, you definitely dialed the wrong number." Pause. "Oh God, son, I'm sorry for yelling at you. I hope you won't be mad at me," and all that. I advised her to give that guy a good talking to, said goodbye, and continued playing Call of Duty. Strange situation. We're calling to make sure you haven't changed your mind about having a hysterectomy procedure next Tuesday. I'm a guy. I'm 17 years old and I don't have a uterus. Are you sure? Your number is written in our journal. I'll check right now. Yes. Quite sure. They didn't call me, but one Asian family constantly texted me messages. This went on for 6 or 7 years. I tried many times to explain to them that I'm not their grandmother or whoever else they thought I was, but they ignored my explanations and I even stopped trying. As a result, they continued to send me photos of their children and their travels. I saw photos from their trip to San Francisco and how their youngest child was born, how they took one of the children to high school. Their children literally grew up before my eyes, even though we weren't even acquainted. Honestly, I was very sad when I had to change my phone number. A year or two ago, one guy called me. It turned out that a stripper had given him the wrong number. I'm sure he was very disappointed when a 20-year-old guy answered the call. A guy from prison called me. I told him he had the wrong number and he replied that he had no one to call, so he dialed random numbers. I was young and naive, but he didn't ask for anything. We talked a bit. He told me how he ended up behind bars, like a real street thug, but he wanted to reform and return to normal society. They called me from an unknown number and I didn't answer the call. After the call repeated 3 to 4 times, I gave in and answered, but I couldn't say anything, as some guy with a Brooklyn accent started speaking in an agitated tone. "Yo, Remember that dude we saw yesterday? Turns out that's one of the guys from Tom the Pole. If he comes to you, don't say shit about what happened yesterday. After that, he added, sorry, looks like I got the wrong number. Then he started swearing and hung up. Since then, I've been wondering who this scary Tom the Pole is.